The premise really around Senior Living 100 has always been around three big things. So strategy, leadership, and innovation. And that is very much reflected in this year's program. And we have a very nice equal balance of those three.
You're listening to Bridge the Gap Season 5, a podcast dedicated to informing, educating, and influencing the future of housing and services for seniors. This season is powered by sponsors AccuShield, Inquire, One Day, LTC REIT, It's Never Too Late, Meridian Capital, Salinity, and the Bridge Group Construction.
Welcome to Bridge the Gap podcast, the senior living podcast with Josh and Lucas. We got a great guest on today on a very timely topic as everyone in the industry is thinking about what conferences to attend and what type of leadership should I be planning for this year. We want to welcome Tim Craig. He's the VP Chief Content Director at Lincoln Healthcare Leadership. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot. Great to be here.
The topic this morning is going to be on Senior Living 100, the conference coming up here March 13th through 16th in Carlsbad, California. You know, Tim, there's a healthy discussion going around the industry as conferences are coming back online. People are very interested to re-engage in face-to-face meetings and face-to-face conferences and events. And you have the Senior Living 100 coming up here very soon. Who are the type of attendees? Who attends Senior Living 100?
Yeah, it's a great question, Lucas. First, I'll tell you that, we're also looking at the last couple of years, and we're finally seeing ourselves coming out of this. And I think we now all have the answer to that question. How long was this going to last? And I think we now know it's almost exactly a 2-year pandemic. And now suddenly Omicron came down as quickly as it went up. And now we're all ready to get back into action. Senior Living 100 has, for 11 years now, been bringing together C-level executives, pretty much 50% from for-profit, 50% from not-for-profit. We are very much sort of agnostic in that regard. And it has always been a great retreat for people who are looking to sort of refresh their ideas. If you've got your strategy and you're looking to bounce ideas off of other like-minded providers and operators, that's kind of what we're all about. But now, as we're coming out of the pandemic, this is the perfect time because I think it's safe to say that for the last couple of years, unfortunately, one of the consequences of what's happening during this pandemic is we've kind of put our strategy and innovation a little bit on the back burner. At first, we were very preoccupied with infection control, and then we migrated into sort of workforce, which we're still very much mired in. But now is the perfect opportunity to say all of those ideas that we had in the end of 2019 and early 2020, it's time to dust those off and really dive back into the big pictures around where we want to be as we're thinking about the next 10 years.
Well, I love the audience mix because that's the first topic we touched on here, Tim. I know a lot of events that I've been to typically lean really heavy one way or the other as far as how we do our tax status and so forth. But what I found is that regardless, when you're talking about C-suite individuals, regardless of whether you're for-profit, not-for-profit, what sector, we're all kind of facing the same issues. And there are unique strategies around tax status and things like that. So we can learn so much by getting that group of thought leaders together. So appreciate your attention to that. And it's really cool to hear what a balance. Lucas and I had an opportunity just a few years ago before the pandemic to actually attend one of these. And I was amazed, not only the awesome setting you guys and experience you create, but the great thought leadership that is there. So let's talk through a little bit for those that don't already know about Senior Living 100. We've heard the audience kind of who's going to be there, but talk about format. What is the format for this event like?
Yeah, so, senior living is one of several events that we put together for senior management in various aspects of the senior care continuum. We run Home Care 100 and LTC 100 and Health System 100, and they all follow a very similar format. We like to think of ourselves as sort of one of the original summit style events where you get away to a resort for several days and you get a really heavy dose of networking and education in a nice setting. And that's really what senior living has promised and delivered on for the last 11 years. And this year being in Carlsbad, I mean, I'm from the Northeast, so who doesn't love, Southern California in the beginning of March? In fact, they just happen to have a really sweet sort of heat situation there now, and so it's all good because you're going to be able to escape wherever it is that you are in the North or Northeast. But the premise really around Senior Living 100 has always been around three big things: so strategy, leadership, and innovation. And that is very much reflected in this year's program. We have a very nice equal balance of those three, a big dose of strategy, especially in the areas of marketing. We feel as though, when you put in the bucket of the things that have been accelerated over the last 24 months, digital marketing is probably very, very high on that list. And in the process of sort of being thrust into a whole new world of digital marketing, I think it's safe to say that we've exposed some of the shortcomings of this industry. And so we're going to have a big thrust around what does it look like to really be an advanced digital marketing entity, and how does that spell out where you need to position yourself going forward. So there's a big dose there. Obviously, leadership is a big part of what we're all about. Michael Bush, who is the CEO and president of Great Place to Work, is going to be our keynote on Tuesday morning. And really, give everyone a good, nice dose of what does it look like to take a hard, long look in the mirror and ask yourself, how do I differentiate myself as an organization going forward? And then, of course, innovation. I mean, there's no lack of innovation in our program. We've got tons of innovative business models, everything from affordability to diversity. You may be familiar with an organization called SAGE, talking about LGBTQ. And so there's a big dose there. And then we're going to be talking about a lot of innovation in workforce as well. So we've got a lot of the really important bases covered.
Wow. So Lucas, we have a lot of exciting content. We have the C-suite, a mix of profit status that are coming to this event, an awesome format, and an awesome venue. So Tim, tell us a little bit about, for those that have not attended this format of an event, you guys bring together the C-suite, but you also have some, it seems like some great partners on board that support you guys in making this event possible. It's not an expo type of an event like many of the events that we go to. So how do you infuse that to where the C-suite can engage with partners that are very committed and kind of truly tested at being part of our industry?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question, because very, very often when we engage in a conversation with a prospective new partner or sponsor, that you've got your work cut out for you when they say, how large is my booth? We say, well, hold on, time out. There is no booth, and that's by design. I mean, we really, really, if there's anything that I would hammer home more than ever, is that we believe that the model that we have engenders a top-to-top, one-on-one networking opportunity. And so everything we do from the moment people arrive all the way until the very end, so let's say 3 full days of intense top-to-top networking. And so the different ways in which that would look like in a program, we have recreation. So for example, on the first day, one of the first things that people would have the opportunity to do is go on a catamaran tour right outside of San Diego, right? And we have a spouse program. So that's another unique aspect of our program. And so an executive from a large senior living organization could come with his or her spouse and spend 3 days in San Diego. And in parallel to the executive program, the spouse could go through the spouse program, which incidentally is complimentary this year and in recognition of the difficulties that everyone has been through. And so you can sort of escape to this resort with your spouse and bring your spouse to the events in the evening, bring your spouse to the recreation. And we've now created this really nice sort of holistic opportunity for people to get together in dinners and lunches. We have sort of paired opportunities throughout the conference where we put together meetings where people can get together. So the whole idea really is come to this event for 3 days, and not only will you be refreshed with a lot of great ideas that you see on the stage, but you'll be refreshed from a lot of the great conversations that you're going to have over the course of 3 days. And, that's really an important detail when you come to think about the size of the conference. We are very much in many respects, based on some of the comments that I just made, but also the way we're structured, we are really the anti-trade show. Like this is not a big event where you're going to get lost walking from booth to booth. It's almost a guarantee that with roughly about somewhere between 80 and 90 operator executives, and then sort of a similar equal amount, maybe a little bit less in terms of sponsors, you're going to see everyone that you want to see over the course of 3 days, not more and not less. So it's an opportunity to really be able to say, in 3 days, I got to see everyone I wanted to see, and I didn't feel as though I was kind of a number on a show floor.
Wow. A great value to both the C-suite and the partners that have surrounded this event. Some refreshing, to use your word, Tim, some refreshing networking, relationship building, and a beautiful destination. Lucas, are you getting excited yet? We're going to be able to be there.
I'm excited. We're going to have our studio set up there. We're an official media partner with Tim and Senior Living 100. Proud to get back together again for the first time in a really long time. So to our listeners, this is obviously an exclusive event and experience, but kudos to Senior Living 100 and Tim to bring in Bridge the Gap and to capture some of these great conversations in podcast form so that our thousands and thousands of listeners that aren't able to attend, they'll get a taste. They'll get to have some of this experience. They'll get to have and listen to some of these conversations as we roll those out across our scheduling for this season. You're going to get to listen in to some of the most important thought leadership that'll be happening and taking place. So Tim, thank you for bringing us on board with this and being a part of the Bridge the Gap mission, which is to educate, inform, and influence, and have a platform to have these conversations and elevate thought leadership in our space. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we love the partnership. And, it's funny, you mentioned earlier, Josh, that we worked together in 2019. And boy, if we haven't seen the way, you guys have grown in the last couple of years. So kudos to you, because you are definitely now a presence, and we look forward to continue working together on this and other projects.
Well, thank you, Tim. It's a valued partnership. And for all of our listeners, as Lucas always says, we will be adding all of the information in the show notes in our social medias. And you can also get that in just about any channel that we put the information on how to connect with Senior Living 100 to find out more about what's coming. And don't forget to listen all throughout the year as that content is shared in a variety of mediums. Lucas, this has been a fun show.
It's a fun show, and we actually have one more good surprise for our guests. We talked with Tim and Senior Living 100. They're actually going to be providing our listeners with a discount code if you want to register for Senior Living 100 coming up here very soon. So we'll make sure that we drop that in the show notes. SeniorLiving100.com is where you're going to want to go to register. And then we'll also connect with Tim, so you can connect and hit him up on LinkedIn. BTGvoice.com is the mothership. You can go there and get all of our episodes and see more resources pertaining to the Senior Living 100 event. Tim, thanks for being with us today and spending some time with us.
Yeah, it's really great to talk to you guys. I'm so glad that in-person conferences are back. It's a great time. It's an exciting time. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone in Carlsbad.
Us too. We'll see you very soon. And thanks to everyone for listening to another great episode of Bridge the Gap.
Thanks for listening to Bridge the Gap podcast with Josh and Lucas. Connect with the BTG Network team and use your voice to influence the industry by connecting with us at btgvoice.com.